and record it on this computer. So this is Kitty Boitnott live on Zoom and Facebook to talk about how you can transition into a job or career that you love in 2018. I want to share with you 3 secrets that you need to know if you want to make a transition. And the first secret is know what you want. And frankly, this is where a lot of people fall short right from the get-go. They can't articulate easily and with any amount of confidence what it is that they would love to do next. They're so used to thinking that they have to settle for what they can get instead of knowing what it is that you want for your future. So I see, I'm reading sideways on Facebook Live. I see I do have some people here with me on Facebook Live. There's Ann Wren. Hey, Ann, and Lori, and Ann Wren again. So here's what, if we'll wait and I'll take questions at the end, okay, so that I can get the information out, and then you can ask questions as you need to, either through the chat box, or we can even go live to Tony's here live on Zoom. We can go to her directly. And if you're on Facebook Live, you can type in your questions and I'll take a look at those before I sign off this morning. So as I said, the very first thing you need to know if you're looking to make a job change in 2018 is to know first, what do you want? I ask people all the time, if you weren't going to be doing what you're doing now, what would you want to be doing moving forward? And it is astonishing to me the number of people who can't answer that question. And yet I'm not sure why I'm so astonished. I was in that position 5 years ago. I was in the midst of a career transition. I had left a career that I knew I was done with. It was over. I was finished. I was complete with that career. And I needed something new. I needed to create or find something new that would work for me. And I didn't know either what I wanted to do moving forward. It took a little while to get to what I felt called to do. So I needed to give myself permission to think about it and space to consider what the various possibilities might be, and to really get very, very clear about what I wanted to do next in my career. I made 2 lists. What do I never want to do again? And what would I love to do moving forward? Because I came to a very clear decision during that transition period. And that was that I didn't want to spend another day doing anything I didn't love to do for the rest of my life, period. And that for me meant certain things that I did not want to do moving forward, and certain things that I hadn't even learned yet that I love to do, but I knew there was something out there for me. So the first number 1 secret to a successful job search or career change is knowing what you want next. The second one is know the tools you need. Know the tools that you need. And here's why that's so critical. Some people mistakenly think that they write a resume chronologically detailing everything they've ever done in their whole career. And then they start applying for jobs that they see on job boards, or maybe listed on LinkedIn or Craigslist or wherever it is that you may go to find job openings. And you upload your one resume that you've written that chronologically lists everything you've ever done in your whole career, and then you wonder why you never hear back. Has that ever happened to anybody? I bet it has. And so if that happens to you, there are 2 things that are possibly happening. The first one is that you're not being accepted by the applicant tracking system because you don't have enough of the keywords that are in that job description and in your resume. They're not matching. So you're coming up as not enough of a match. I've heard recruiters say that they want a 60 to 70% match between the job description and the candidate, or else they're not going to waste their time or yours responding. They don't consider you a viable candidate. And in some cases, the person on the other end of the applicant tracking system never even sees your resume, because the applicant tracking system makes that decision based on the algorithm and the criteria that it's been set to accept. So if you're getting blocked and never even getting your resume to the right people because the applicant tracking system, which is a software program that you don't have any control over, if that is happening, then one of the things that you can start doing right away is to tweak your resume. But the other thing is that you need to really study closely that job description and cut out the extraneous stuff from your resume that doesn't meet the needs of the job description. Just leave it out. You can go for a functional resume rather than a chronological resume. And a functional resume highlights what it is that you do and how you can bring your transferable skills to the job, instead of concentrating so much on jobs that you've had in the past that don't have anything to do with what you want to do moving forward, right? So you need to know how to use those tools. The applicant tracking system is a barrier to your success, and that's why you need to really know how to write a resume that will get yourself seen by the right people. And then beyond that, the resume has to present you as someone who is highly capable of being able to do the job that you've applied for. And it isn't good enough for you to think, well, I can do maybe 40% of what they've got listed there, and then I can learn the rest. Because they're not looking to train you. They're looking for you to be able to come in and on day one hit the road running. And they're particularly interested in 3 specific things that you have to offer. A, what problem can you solve for them? In most cases, companies and organizations are looking for this new person to come in and join their team because they have a problem or a pain that they need solved or cured, right? If you can present yourself as the best person to do the solving of that problem or the curing of that pain, then you become the person that they want to bring on. The second reason companies and organizations hire anybody is they want somebody who can make money for them. And the third reason is they want somebody who can save money for them. And if you happen to be the individual who can do all 3 of those things, you can solve the problem that they have, or you can cure their pain, whatever it is, or you can make them money, and in the same by the same token, you can save them money. You are gold. They want you, and you have to present yourself in that light. Now, another tool that you need besides the resume is a cover letter. This is especially important for people who are transitioning from one career to another or from one industry to another. The cover letter acts as the bridge between what it is that you've been doing in the past and what you want to be doing moving forward, okay? So your resume may not do that for you. Let's just be honest, especially if you're trying to jump the shark and get from one career. Like a lot of my clients are teachers, but they don't want to teach anymore. They're ready for another type of career path. They maybe have been teaching for 4 or 10 or 15 years. The longer they've been teaching, the harder it is for them to show up on their resume as someone who may be able to make this job transition that they want, right? So what they have to be able to do is demonstrate in their cover letter why this company or organization should be interested enough to talk to them to find out about other skills and experiences that they have that maybe don't show up in the resume. So you use the cover letter to articulate why you're interested in that job or that company. You personalize it to the extent that you can. You make a personal connection, and then you bridge that gap. If you simply regurgitate in the cover letter everything that you've already put in your resume, nobody's even going to read your cover letter, which is why most cover letters land in the trash can instead of ever even being read. People will scan, and this is true for your resume as well as your cover letter. Hiring managers are busy people. They will receive dozens, if not hundreds, of resumes and cover letters for any one opening. And because they're busy and they don't have time to read word for word every resume and cover letter that comes across their desk, even the ones that have been sorted out, by the applicant tracking system, they're going to scan. They're going to be looking for keywords. They're going to be looking for key experiences. They're going to be looking for key educational levels. And if they can't see those quickly, they'll discard you. They'll put you in the no pile. If you've made a mistake, spelling, typing, grammatical, spacing, any kind of mistake on your resume, you go in the no pile because they're looking for perfection in your resume. Same thing for your cover letter. And if you start out, dear sir or madam, which is death right there, you want to make sure you find the name of the person that you're applying to. Dear Mr. Jones, dear Ms. Smith, please find and close my resume for job number blah, 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 where you will see that I am blah, blah, blah. And from my resume, you can determine yada, yada, yada. They don't want to read that. They want something else that will make you real, authentic, personal. So a cover letter requires a very special kind of approach, and most people don't do that. The third thing you must have in your job search toolkit is an optimized, fully completed, stellar LinkedIn profile. It's not a fluff. It's not something that you can overlook and hope that nobody pays attention to the fact that you haven't either filled out a LinkedIn profile at all, or that it's not fully optimized and filled out. They are going to be looking. And if your resume should not be on your LinkedIn profile, but your LinkedIn profile should corroborate and substantiate and fill out and round out the resume itself. So the resume changes for every job that you apply for. The LinkedIn profile is static, more static, and you can include artifacts and examples of work that you've done. You can even post video that you've done that might add to your value as a viable candidate on LinkedIn. So you cannot afford to overlook a LinkedIn profile. And here's the other thing you may or may not know about LinkedIn. It is so tightly connected with Google and Google search that when someone is, let's say I'm a hiring manager and I get your resume and cover letter, and I'm curious, okay, I want to know more about this person. So I just Google, I don't even have to go to LinkedIn. I Google your name. If you have a LinkedIn profile that's fully optimized, you're going to pop up right at the top of the search page. That's where you want to be. You don't want to make people have to hunt and search and, well, where is this person? And I've had people tell me, well, I don't like LinkedIn because I don't like to use social media and I don't want to have to put my picture out there and I don't want all my personal information out there. And I have had to say on numerous occasions, get over it. It's part of the process. You have to be willing to do it. So even if you don't have a Facebook page or a Twitter account or any of the other social media platforms, you cannot afford to overlook LinkedIn. And your LinkedIn has to be done right. I mean, it's not enough just to do a LinkedIn profile. It has to be done correctly. It has to be fully optimized and completed to the full extent of your ability, because they're looking for ways that they can corroborate and validate what's in your resume. And then I always like to talk about brand. Brand as part of your tools. How do you show your there? I think of brand in actually three different ways. One is your personal brand. How do you show up? When you go to a networking event, are you dressed for the appropriate position that you would be interested in, or do you show up casual? Do you take time, especially for women, and it's not fair, but it's still true. Women have to take a little extra care with their looks, hair, makeup, looking put together, not just thrown together. Men have it so much easier. They don't have to worry about what shoes to wear with what outfit, and they don't have to worry about makeup and hairstyle and all that. But they do need to show up looking professional. Men still have that responsibility. And if you're going to a professional networking event, you need to wear a jacket and tie with a blue or white shirt and nice khakis and polished shoes and socks with no holes in them, because you want to show up presenting yourself in the part that you would be playing in this new job that you're looking to get, right? So showing up in person, and how you comport yourself. Are you friendly? Are you polite? Or are you the person who likes to hide in the corner because you don't want to talk to anybody? You feel inept. You feel inadequate. You're shy. And I get it. I'm off the chart introvert. I don't care about networking events. They're not fun for me. I'm going to a party this afternoon that I'm making myself go to because I feel like I need to go and participate. But it's not because I really look forward to parties or get-togethers. I would much rather meet someone over coffee or lunch, one-on-one. But the fact of the matter is, if you are in job search mode, you need to know people. You need to get out and meet with people, and you need to be rubbing elbows with people who are possible decision makers. You need to get to know as many people as possible, so that you never know when that one person might be the one to say, well, I just happen to be friends with the hiring manager at XYZ Corp, and I just learned at a cocktail party the other night, he's looking for somebody with just your skill. Can you send me your resume? I'll hand it to him. I'll see him golfing next week. Things like that happen all the time. And so you can't hide at home. The job fairy's not going to come pecking at your door to say, hey, I got a job for you. Now, with that said, it's possible that a recruiter can show up out of the blue after looking at your LinkedIn profile, and they may call you and say, hey, are you interested in an opportunity? I have one that you might find of interest. That can happen, but the job fairy's not going to come to your door. So you have to make yourself available and get out there. And how you show up, you don't have to be the life of the party, but you do have to be friendly and open and willing and able to have conversations with multiple people at these networking events that you go to. And I would recommend you go to as many networking events as possible. But now, don't just go to everything. Go strategically to the meetups or conferences or meetings where you know that people in your industry are going to be. I'm not suggesting you just willy-nilly go everywhere to be everything. Be strategic, be specific about where you choose to go so that you can make the most of those networking opportunities that you have there. Then you have your professional brand, which is how you show up at work. And if you're in between jobs, then this is going to be critical, because the people that you worked with in the past will be people who are your references. And you want them to say really wonderful things about you. And if you're currently working, and you're looking to make a change, that's still the case. The people that you work with now are going to become your references. So you want to be showing up, being at your best to the extent that it's possible, so that the people that you work with will have good things to say about you. And so that's your professional brand. And then a combination of your personal and professional brand will show up online, whether it's through LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or Instagram or Snapchat or any of the other places where you have a footprint. Even if you've ever been on Facebook once in 10 years, you've got a presence on Facebook. And so one of the things that I recommend is that you do a little bit of a social media audit and make sure that anything that's out there over which you have control, that you make sure it's cleaned up, and I call it squeaky clean, so that if a potential employer's looking at you, they're not turned off by an overly prolific Facebook account or Twitter account that's full of a lot of either far left or far right political or religious views, because people are thinking in terms of bringing in a team member who will be able to work with everybody. And you want, and even though I know that's not really fair, because you should be able to use Facebook for friends and family, and you should be able to say whatever you want. That's just not how it works these days. So be aware that whatever you have out there, you need to pay attention to. And then I want to say finally, I don't know that it's actually the last tool, but it's the last one I'm going to talk about today. And that is how to interview properly. This is where a lot of people really fall short, and they don't even know it because they're not self-aware enough. They haven't practiced interviewing with someone who's in a position to give them good feedback. A lot of people, surprisingly, don't do their homework before an interview. And so they go in without having done the proper background work. They don't know for sure who it is that they're talking to. They don't know exactly what the job entails, but they think they might have an interest in it. They're not quite sure. You don't want to show up that way, because that is a tell that you don't care enough about the job to do the research on it, to know exactly what it entails. And so you have to do your research, and you need to be prepared for very specific kinds of questions that you will be asked. Some of them you'll know for sure you're going to be asked. Some of them you can anticipate with a fair amount of certainty that you'll be asked. And whether you're asked or not, you want to be prepared to answer them. Because here's the thing, if you do well enough in your first interview, you'll be invited back for a second. But if you blow it in the first interview, that'll be the end of that, and you'll be back to square one, starting from the beginning with a whole new process, trying to figure out what they want and what they need. So I've talked about as far as the 3 secrets of job search, I've talked about knowing what you want and knowing the tools that you need. And I talked about the resume, the cover letter, your social media in general, your LinkedIn profile specifically, and your brand, as well as how you interview. The third and perhaps the most important key to a successful job search or career change is being able to practice patience, persistence, and perseverance. And this is hard. Most people don't understand how long a job search is going to take. I just talked to someone yesterday who said, I took the summer, I knew my job was ending, and I took the summer off and played with my kids, and I thought I'd have something by October. If I started looking in September, I thought I would be hired by October, and here it is the beginning of December, and I don't have any prospects. It's taking longer than I thought it would. And I want to say to you that that is in the rules. It will always take longer than you think it will. It's baked in. And part of that is the result of hiring managers have just gotten busier and busier. Companies after the recession of 2008 and 9, when millions of people were thrown out of work, the people who were kept on took on multiple jobs. And they're still doing multiple jobs. I don't care that the economy has taken a big kick in the butt and gotten off the ground in the last year or so. And I hope that the prognosticators are right about, this great job growth that they're predicting in the next couple of years. I hope they're right. But what I do know is that companies haven't yet started hiring all the people that they let go. They've still got 1 or 2 people doing multiple jobs. And that means the whole process has slowed down to a grinding halt. Another scheme that some companies and organizations will use, and maybe scheme is a little harsh, but it's still a method, a strategy that they use, and that is they'll keep a job open for 3 or 4 months in order to avoid paying a person a salary and benefits, and they use that money to sort of pad their own bottom line. And so they're not in any hurry. Unless they're in a lot of pain, they're not in any real hurry to hire somebody new. They'll take their time. They're very leisurely these days about how they undertake the job search process. And so statistics are indicating that the average job search, and this is the most recent statistic I've heard, it may have changed in the last month or two, but you can count on the average job search taking 4 to 9 months. Now that means some people land earlier and some people take longer. And that's just part of the deal. So patience, persistence, and perseverance are required as you undertake this whole job search process. And if you give up, what you know for sure is you won't get the job you want. So you can't afford to give up, but you will feel like it a dozen times a day because it's hard. It takes a hit on your self-esteem. You get multiple rejections. I've had a client who's been looking for something for over a year. She has had over 60 interviews. She comes up second in a lot of them, and she never gets hired. I suspect the problem is she's highly, highly qualified, and for whatever reason, when she gets into the interview, she's not locking in on exactly what it is that they need. And so she comes up their number 2 pick. So she's continuing to look while she considers other potential possibilities for herself. But that's extremely important that you know about adopting an attitude of patience, persistence, and perseverance, and being willing to do whatever it takes to get you where you want to go. But then that brings us back to, how do you know what you want, right? Because a lot of people don't have any clue. They know what they don't want. They don't know what they do want. And I ask a lot of people, when I start out working with a new client, I will often say, if I were to give you a magic wand, and I actually have a magic wand around here somewhere, but I don't know what I've done with it. If I were to give you a magic wand and you could wave it and have any job in the world that you want, don't worry about the practicality of how would you make that happen. But if I could make that happen for you, do you know what it is that you would want? And a stunning number of people hesitate and say, I wish I knew, but I really don't. Or they'll laugh nervously. I wish I could tell you, but I really don't know. And it goes back to what I believe is part of the problem, and that is we've been taught that we have to settle for what we can get. instead of believing that we can have what we really want. And I want to suggest to you that if you are open to possibilities, you can have, be, or do anything you want. But first you have to know what that is. And so that comes with knowing thyself. During the time that you are in the midst of a transition in your career, you need to really get clear on who you are. What is it that you love to do? If you didn't have to work for a living, what would you do with your day? How would you spend your hours? If you didn't have to worry about paying a mortgage or putting groceries on the table, how would you spend the time that you have? That's really critically important, knowing thyself. And that, along with that comes knowing your core values. What are your core values? What is it that you really believe about yourself, about the world? What do you care about? Different people care about different things. That's a good thing. We need lots of different people with lots of different talents because the world is in need of people who have something different to contribute. If we all were contributing the same thing, it wouldn't work. So we all need to be very clear about what our core values are, as well as what our strengths and talents and aptitudes are. So one of the things that I recommend is that you do some assessment. Take some self-assessments. You can find them online for free. Some of them are low fee. I offer one called Pathway Planner that is quite comprehensive and might be useful to you if you are in need of, if you really are like stuck with that question of, well, what do you want to do now? Or what do you want to do next? If you're in the position of you just have no clue, then the Pathway Planner might be something that would be beneficial for you. It is very comprehensive, and it will give you some insights into your thinking ability and thinking style, as well as your personality preferences. So it's really quite good. The other thing I want you to think in terms of, what is it that you're called to do? You know, I happen to be of the school of thought that we all have a calling. We all have a purpose. We all have a mission. The dilemma is that for a lot of us, we don't think we can do what we're called to. So we leave that for somebody else. And I go back to, I really enjoy the work of a woman called, her name is Mel Robbins. Yeah, Robbins, Robbins. She's written a book called The 5-Second Rule. She is a fabulous speaker, and I've heard her in person live, and I've also watched a couple of her TED Talks. So check her out, Mel, M-E-L, Robbins, Robbins. One of the things that she said in the speech that I was so moved by a year and a half ago now, that she said that research shows that each one of us here on this planet at this point in time, the chances of our being here is 1 in 400 trillion. Now wrap your brain around that for just a second. There's a 1 in 400 trillion chance of your being here alive at this point in time. And she says that, you know, from the moment of conception, there are so many obstacles and challenges that you've had to overcome to just be born and then to get this far in your life. And so when you think in terms of how small a chance it is that we're even here right now, then think in terms of, what if the reason you're here is something that you need to be sharing with the world? A talent, a gift, a message, a skill, something that only you can deliver in the perfect way that it needs to be delivered. And yet, because you think you're just like everybody else and that you're not different or unique or special, and you know what that message maybe is, but you think nobody wants to hear it from you. Who are you? Who do you think you are? We've all got that message in the back of our head. Who do you think you are? So we hold back. And her bottom line was, when we hold back, we're not just undercutting ourselves. We're not just keeping ourselves from being fully alive and authentic and true to ourselves, but we're also holding out on the rest of the world. Because it's very possible that they need the message that you were born to deliver. Now, I don't know about you, but that idea just gives me chills. And I want to help as many people as I can share their purpose with the world, whatever that is. I believe that's my purpose, to help people figure out what it is that they need to do moving forward into a job or career that they can love, that they're sharing their best talents, their best abilities, their best aptitudes, the things that they were born to be sharing. So that's what I believe I was born to do, and that's what I've been doing for the last 4.5 years. And if you think that that's something that you would be interested in getting help with, then I hope that this session today has been useful. I've been talking now for 40 minutes, so we're going to be wrapping up here shortly. But I will be looking to see both on Facebook Live and on, and I'll have to open it up on my computer, I guess, and on Zoom, to see what kind of questions, if I have any, that may have popped up while I've been talking. And I'd also want to share with you, well, let's see. I want to share with you, am I not on live? Oh, here we are. I want to look to see what kinds of questions there might be on, well, it's not going to be on there, so I'll have to look at my phone. I'll have to look at the phone. All right, so what I wanted to say is that I've got a new group mastermind starting on Monday night. If you would be interested in learning more about that, it's starting December the 4th, which is Monday, at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's a new group cohort, or I'm calling it a mastermind. This will be the third group that I will have coached in this last year. And if you'd like to know more about it, you can email me at kittyboitnott@gmail.com, or you can find out the details of the program at teachersintransition.com/mastermind. teachersintransition.com/mastermind. So if you think that might be of interest to you, please let me know. So, all right. So Tony, do you have any questions? Oh, you made a comment that the quality of the men's suit will also be noticed, and you're an off-the-chart extrovert. That is awesome. So you must enjoy, you must enjoy networking events more than I do. That's for sure. Now, you wrote here about 1:30 that you've had that to happen. What is it that you've had happen? Let's see. Let me unmute you, and I'm going to, yeah.
Okay.
So,
test.
Or you speak and see if I can hear you.
Hold on.
No. Okay. So now. Speak.
Okay. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. What I've had happen was the long job search.
Oh, uh-huh.
And luckily my company worked with me through several short contracts, but it took a while.
Okay. And so are you still in the midst of looking right now?
Actually, I currently have a job.
Currently have a job.
But what I'm doing may not be specifically what I feel like I want to be doing.
Right. Okay, so you might be open to looking for something.
Yeah. I'm an extrovert, as I said. The job that I'm in, instructional design, so it's more of an introvert type job. If you're happy sitting, creating stuff, then that's, yeah.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I don't know if you'd be interested in joining the mastermind group, but if you think you might be,
I'll think about that.
And we'll talk about it. All right, so let me look at, I only see one question on Facebook Live, and that is from Lori Ann, and I don't know if she's still here or not, but the one thing I know I need to tackle is LinkedIn. Are there good tutorials or cheat sheets to assist me in creating a stellar profile there? Oh, Lori Ann, I have the program for you. I have a standalone LinkedIn class that you can sign up, a course that you can sign up for. It's very inexpensive. It covers everything you need to know. It provides a cheat sheet, and it provides a video review of your LinkedIn profile. I'll offer a video review once you've got it where you want me to be looking at it, and I will send you my best feedback and tips for how you can make it even better. Okay, so if you would be interested in that, email me at kittyboitnott@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to share that information with you. And those are the only questions that I see right off the bat for now. It looked like I had some people. Oh, Ann says that the text on Facebook was backwards. Looked like it was showing up okay on Zoom, so I'll have to work that little kink out. And I think I had some people on, but now they've moved on. So, and then Lori Ann also says, I'd also like to say that my favorite role I played, because it never felt like a job, was the one that took the longest to find, but I refused to settle for less than what I knew was best for me and my family. And see, I think that's the kind of persistence I'm talking about. Knowing what's best for you and not giving up and not playing safe. Not to say that you need to go forever without a paycheck, but it's much, much happier in the long run for you and your family and everybody around you if you are in a job that you really enjoy and love and can appreciate. So, awesome. All right. Well, Tony, do you have any other questions or thoughts that before we close out for today?
No, thank you. I will email you.
Okay, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. And for everybody who's still on Facebook, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I hope you were able to take away some nuggets, and I'll see you later. And thanks so much. If you have questions, email me at kittyboitnott@gmail.com. Thanks, everybody.